it isn't the fastest. And it's definitely not the most special. It doesn't even have round headlights. Is it because it corners with the same G-force as a Ferrari 360 for a quarter of the price? And you can drive it in the rain and the windows won't leak? After this sick intro, we'll talk to an actual owner and find out.
Back in 1998, there were two heavy-hitting mainstream sports cars with a back seat that you could buy. It was this or the E36 M3. The 996 911 debuted in 1998 as an all-new chassis redesign. Porsche was facing some difficulties, maybe even facing bankruptcy back in 1998, so they were forced to make some significant design changes and production changes to stay alive. So the 996 911 was a completely new chassis and had parts that were shared with their little brother, the Boxster. A lot of people didn't quite like that, but really, I don't mind. It saved Porsche, and here's the things that it actually improved on for the 911. The 911 actually had a fully redesigned engine. The M96 was a 3.4 liter fully water-cooled engine that moved away from the air-cooled engines that Porsche really just needed to evolve to come to modern times. Along with that new engine, which was obviously a huge change, was the chassis as well. The chassis was actually, the wheelbase was made longer by about 80 millimeters, and then all of the hard points were totally new and different. Nowadays, as enthusiasts look back on the 996, I feel that they're starting to really appreciate that 911. For one, it's an undervalued 911. It's an undervalued 911 experience for today's money, especially if you can get over the headlight design. Because all in all, you are getting a 911 driving experience at a much lower price point. Styling aside, let's really talk about what's important, and that's the performance of this car. That water-cooled engine, the brand new water-cooled engine back in 98, it's a flat six, and it's got a great torque band. It's got really usable torque, and it still has a bit of top end for you at the same time. It's a great workhorse of an engine that I actually feel is better if you're doing, if the car is for dual duty purposes or driving every day, enjoying it on a canyon road like I'm on, or taking it out on a track. Plus, with that torque and the engine being in the back, when you really get on it, you've got that balance and thrust getting on the back tires, giving you a bunch of grip so you can speed out of corners. It's awesome. Also, the handling of the car, again, the rear engine balance, you have to manage that weight. So it's actually a lot of fun getting the brakes in on corner entry, doing a little bit of trail braking to tuck that nose in. and then putting the balance back on that rear engine as you thrust your way out of a corner. It's such a fun dance with these cars that you can only really get in a 911. And that, to me, brings a lot of tremendous value. All the performance attributes that I'm talking about that make this a good car on track and fun to drive on a day-to-day or on a canyon road that we're on right now, that's awesome. But what really makes this car great is that you can still have all of that and use this car every day. You've got a frunk that has quite a lot of space. You can put most of your things in. You can put a few grocery bags and all of that in for your honey-do errands. And also you've got a back seat. Well, most of them have a back seat. Mine's actually been taken out, but most cars have a back seat, a usable one, not for full-grown adults, let's say, but you can get a child seat back there. If you've got young kids, they can fit back there. They can go along on your fun drives out to the canyon or the coastline. And you can use this car, especially one like this, because we're not talking about six-figure values. You can drive it on a road that's got a lot of debris all over it that we've been seeing today and not really care. Pricing for these vehicles definitely depends on spec, definitely depends on generation. So we've got the 0.1 and the 0.2 generation, which we're in. The 0.1s, typically the earlier model cars, are more highly sought after. They have the throttle by wire, the actual amber headlights, the original styling that the purists kind of didn't like. A good driver with decent spec, you're going to be in the mid to high 20s, $25,000 to $28,000 range for a good driver. Obviously, you can spend more on something that's a little lower miles, better condition overall, or you can spend a little less, something that's a little rougher, but mechanically is going to be sound with most of the issues taken care of. For the .2s, you take a little jump because the .2s, you went from the 3.4 liter flat six to the 3.6, so there's a bit more power, a little bit more torque, making it even more usable. Also, the front end design change, we moved to the turbo style headlights, which separated this 911 from the Boxer again a little bit more. And for a good example, a nice driver, you're probably looking at the mid 30s for something similar to my vehicle, 77,000 miles or so, very good condition and good mechanical records. Obviously, you can spend higher for a better example, lower miles, etc. And obviously something that is more mechanically sound and a little more rough around the edges, and maybe doesn't have the aero kit and some of the special options that my car has, you'll be in the lower $30,000 range. All in all, in today's day and age, when you're talking about value for money, the 996 911 is really hard to beat. You've got a great package overall, and you get the 911 driving experience. Just go out there, find the example that you can afford, and grab that thing up, because we just are living in a day and age now where everything is electrified. We're talking about hybrid 911s already. It's an experience that is dying, and I really want you guys to go out there and grab it up and enjoy it while it lasts. You can't really beat it. Go get yourself a 996 911, drive and enjoy.